So you're really enjoying your Claude Code subscription, but you're having this feeling of FOMO, of not being able to try out the new models which keep popping up. As you can see here, this is OpenRouter. Here are the trending models. There is the JLM 4.5, the Qwen 3, the Qwen 3 235 billion model, the Horizon Alpha, Horizon Beta model is also coming here. All these new models are coming up, and you are getting a FOMO of not being able to try it out. Yes, you still love your Claude Sonnet model, as we can see that the number one model is still Claude Sonnet. If we look at top this month, still Sonnet. 2 trillion tokens. That's a lot. So Sonnet is still the king, but you want to give these models a try, but not really change your existing setup. You already have set up, let's say, Claude Code with your custom slash commands and your custom sub agents and your custom MCP servers. It's already a great setup, and you just want to swap out your Sonnet model with one of these new models that are popping up. Is that possible? Sure, it is. With Claude Code Router. Here it is. It is all possible with Claude Code Router, the beautiful package. It's fully open source, Node package, TypeScript written. So we're going to talk about this. I referenced Claude Code Router in my earlier videos, and you wanted a video explaining how to set up Claude Code Router. So in this video, I'm going to explain how to set up Claude Code Router and how you can use Claude Code with any of the models in OpenRouter, or most of the models in OpenRouter. You can try out any of the new models that keep popping up and ones that are still yet to come. But before telling you how to set it all up and how to really make it work, let's also discuss why do we care about Claude Code Router if we already are using Claude Code. So there are a bunch of reasons. So let's go to Excalidraw. Let's have Claude Code Router, also known as CCR for short. What are the reasons for using this if we already have Claude Code? Firstly, it allows you to use any model from OpenRouter and other providers also. Secondly, it allows using different specialized models for reasoning and long context. You, with Claude Code Router, can use other model just for the reasoning aspect. So if you want to try out DeepSeek, Think, or whatever model is going great for thinking, you can try that. If let's say you want to just swap out thinking for Gemini 2.5 Pro or Qwen, you can do that, or the GLM model, you can do that. And these are the trending ones. Let's look at the top ones. Some people prefer R1, the DeepSeek R1 model for deep thinking. So it allows you to use different specialized models for reasoning and even for long context. So for example, if you have Claude Code, everything happens from the Sonnet model or the Opus model. Reasoning also, and the final response that you get, that also. But with Claude Code Router, you can just swap out the reasoning part for some other model, like DeepSeek R1. Let's say this is going great as of today. You can use this just for the reasoning aspect, for deep thinking. For long context, also you can use some other model. We know that for long context, Sonnet doesn't really work. Sonnet has 200K window only, right? Which can be small. So you can use the one model which has a really high token window, which is your Gemini 2.5 Pro model. This has a 1 million token window. So you can use Gemini 2.5 Pro for the long context. And why we can use that? Because it is also on OpenRouter. If we look at top models, you can see we have Gemini 2.5 Pro. Use that. Because why not? We as the consumer should be bargaining for the best model for the job. We should have the ability and the freedom to choose which model we want, and Claude Code gives us that ability to. So those are the two main benefits. One is it allows you to use any model for all the things, or different model for specialized things. Now, the third benefit, it allows you to try Claude Code itself for free. How? Some models in OpenRouter are free to use. So you can go in Claude Code Router, start using those models which are free, and try Claude Code for free. For example, let's go in here. Firstly, you can just Google for or search for free models on OpenRouter. You can get those, but these can be rate limited. There's sometimes they're rate limited, sometimes they're not, sometimes their API cost is very low, so they're practically free to use. But even if they're not, sometimes they're totally free. Like this new Horizon beta model, this is a stealth model, which we don't know which company owns it. Some are saying it's OpenAI. It may be true, maybe not. This model, as you see here, the cost is $0 per million input and output. So this is free to use as of now. And you can just use this model through Claude Code Router in Claude Code and just get it for free. So you don't even have to pay the $20 for the Claude Code Pro subscription. So that's the third benefit. That's why it's really important for you to know and understand how to set up Claude Code Router. Even if you are a Claude Code user and you already have all the limit, you should still have it set up so that you have the freedom to swap out one for another when the time comes. So we can also add that as the fourth point, which is if and when your CC Claude Code limits are exhausted, you can swap through CCR to any other model. So these are the four big benefits. So let's not waste any time and just get into how to set it up for yourself. Okay, so let's get started on how to install Claude Code Router and use any model that we want with Claude Code. So let's go to the docs of Claude Code. Make sure to start it if you haven't already. So the first command is simply to install Claude Code. This is the exact command you get on the official Claude homepage also by Anthropic. So here it is, npm install global with the global flag, Anthropic AI, Claude Code. So you need to do the same. You need to already have Claude Code installed if you haven't already. I prefer having Node 20 as my version or above, just to be on the safe side. Coming back. So this is the one command that you have to run. Okay, let's go to cursor. I try using cursor as my IDE. You can use VS Code or whatever, but we're not even looking at the IDE today. We're looking at the terminal. So let's open the terminal in cursor. It's normally at the bottom, but I have dragged and dropped it to the right-hand side. So it's here. Let's simply paste that command. So it's going to install it globally using npm, the Claude Code Router package. Also, you don't have to install it in a particular specific directory of your project because we're installing it globally, so it can be anywhere. And this installation is one time. Now, so because this is installed, we should have the CCR command for our use, which is Claude Code Router. Let's see. Yep, it is available. And my node version was 20.19, so that's also good. So we are in now. Now, for the first command, what we need to do is CCR start. So this is going to create the configuration file for the first time where you specify what models you want to use, which provider you want to use, because Claude Code supports various providers. As you can see here, I'm exploring OpenRouter, but you can use it directly with DeepSeek also as the provider, not as the model, as the provider of model to access the DeepSeek model, which is the reasoning and chat. That's the name of the model. You can use Ollama for your locally installed models. You can directly integrate with Gemini to use their model directly. But this is, I don't like this approach because then you have to directly, you can just use Gemini model. With OpenRouter, you can use everything under OpenAI, which is all the models, which also includes the Google models and the Anthropic models and 100 other models. So here is the config file. We have to generate this. And yeah, this is very important. After modifying the configuration file, you need to restart the service for it to take effect. So let's start on that. CCR start. This is for the first time installation. It's going to take you to specifying the config file. So we're going to have OpenRouter. I'm going to keep it all lowercase just to be safe. OpenRouter, provide the API key. Now I have created the API key, which you can by logging into OpenRouter and going into keys. Don't try to use this key. I've created it just for the video and I'm deleting it. So all you hackers out there, don't try to use this one. So here is the key. Next is the provider URL. So this is the OpenAI compatible completion URL that you have to provide so that CCR can look at it. You don't have to know much, but just the URL for OpenRouter. So for that, we're going to go to docs. We're going to search for something like completion. So this is the API /v1/chat/completions. You're going to see the same format for most of the providers because they all try to be OpenAI compatible, so that different tools which are made for different purposes can all work with various different providers and not just with OpenAI. So they all follow the same approach. So let's put that in provider. Now for the model name, I don't want to just put it yet. So I'm just going to say enter, and we are going to update the config file once it is generated. So it has started, but we haven't specified the model yet. So let's kill it. And you can see the model file is at this URL. So let's open that. So cursor, home directory, Claude Code Router, and config. This is our file, logs false. We don't need to specify the key here. only one provider is set. This is an array, which is OpenRouter. There's just one provider, and let's fill up our models. So this is the time to wish for whichever model you want. Just hoard your models, whichever you want to try, and just start using them. This is the best part. So let's go in OpenRouter, not the docs, but the actual OpenRouter site. I really like the Gemini 2.5 Pro, so let's add that. What else? I also like the Flash model by Gemini. So let's search for that. I like this because it's cheaper and fast. It's not as smart, but we need not so smart but fast models also. I'm gonna tell you why. And then apart from this, I wanna try the free models that we were talking about. So this Horizon Beta, this is currently for $0. It's a stealth model, who knows what it is, but hoard that model to play with that. So we have Horizon Beta also. What else? What else do we want? Let's also check out, let's see which models are trending. Horizon Alpha, GLM 4.5, the Llama models are also good. We're gonna go to that, but yeah, let's add the GLM one or the Qwen Coder one. I like Qwen Coder. Where is the Qwen Coder? Top this week. Yeah, Qwen 3 Coder. So you can add the free version also. I've copied that. Let's try this free version. Free versions can be rate limited and sometimes stop, so they're not as reliable. But even if you use the non-free version, the standard version, the costs are very less. So those are also good to use. I'm just gonna put in free just to give that a shot. But if that doesn't work, the only thing you have to do is remove the colon free to move from the free version to the standard version. So free version, you can see, has the colon here. So that's the only small change. So we have these 4 models. That is good enough for now. Now, so here you've just specified the models. To actually use them, you have to add them to the router object as the default model. So I'm going to use the Google one. And here this format is, first you specify the provider name, which is this one, the provider name, and then you add the full name of the model, which are, in case of OpenRouter, namespaced with Google / the model name. And interestingly, this one says OpenRouter. So our provider is also OpenRouter, our namespace is also OpenRouter, and then the model, because this is a stealth model. So we are seeing OpenRouter 2 times. So let's do that. Let's try to run this. Let's say CCR start, CCR, or just CCR code now. When we do CCR code, it automatically does the start command also. You can't see me, so I'm gonna open it in a new tab. So this is where my terminal is. You can just drag, drop the terminal anywhere you want. So I'm not using the right hand side. I've come in the middle. Let's try CCR start. So this is gonna start, but we don't need to start actually. We can just say CCR code. So from now on, after the initial setup, all you need to remember is to do CCR code. That's it, starting the service. So CCR start command has already run. Now we are in. So this is exactly like Claude Code. This is Claude Code with a wrapper of Claude Code Router to specify the LLM provider. So this is perfect. Now let's try to run some very simple things to see if it's even working. So we see hello. Let's see if that works. Just a very simple command. Yeah, hello, how can I help you today? So it worked. There was an error about an agent which is not available currently, but ignore that. That's not important for this video because that's related to subagents. So it did respond. Now if I kill it, you can see Haiku was used. That's for the background process. And Gemini 2.5 Pro was used for 2 input and 2 output. And even if you don't trust this, for the most authoritative source, let's just go to OpenRouter itself and see if we have usage of Gemini 2.5 Pro there. So I'm going to go in here. I'm going to go to activity. So in activity, you can see Gemini 2.5 Pro was used. And the current time is roughly this only. It's being used currently 2.5 Pro. So yeah, let's try this with some other model. And before the models, let me also tell you one very important point about how to use different models for reasoning and long context and things like that. So if you go to the documentation, you can see here, there are so many options. You can specify a different model for background, for thinking mode, for the long context. So we know that for long context, Gemini gives us the 1 million token window. So let's do that. I'm gonna use that. This is gonna be OpenRouter, and then the Google Gemini 2.5 Pro. I'm gonna use that. And then for thinking, let's just try to use DeepSeek R1, because why not? We are here to spoil ourselves with whatever model we like. So again, the same process. We go in here, we say DeepSeek, or if you don't want to search the model, just go at the top models and look from there. So the leaderboard, and we see here R1 by DeepSeek. This is the free one. We're going to use the paid one. but free should also work. So this or the standard one. Yeah, 0.2. That's really cheap. And this is a reasoning model, a good reasoning model. So let's try to use that. So that's a thinking model, default model, long context. And the final part is background. Just go at the documentation. A model for background task. This can be a smaller local model to save cost. Now, I don't like running my models locally because I already have 200 Chrome tabs running and I can't give away any more RAM. So I don't do it locally, even though it can be cheap, almost free. So I use a smaller and way quicker, faster, efficient model. And for that, what I like is the Llama model. Which one? Llama 70B instruct model. Yeah, these are really good. So these are 0.03 per million, so very cheap. And there's also a free version. You can use that. Sometimes that stops, so let's use the standard one for now. And in here, I'm gonna pass in background. Let's add it here also and make sure to specify the provider also. So yeah, provider. And we haven't added R1 in this array. Let's do that also. So we have, cool, everything is set. So we have the default, long context, thinking, and background. Just make sure those key names are exactly correct. So default, background, thinking, long context. Cool, that is correct. And we have all our models specified as well. For the default model, I will now use the Horizon Beta just to show you that we can use a free model. As you remember, this one is a free model. So let's save this file, come back here. You need to just get out. We are already out of that session. Let's say CCR code, come back in, and we are in. And if I say, what is this project about? Oh, we got the error. Okay, so you will also understand why this happened. Can you figure out why that happened? It's because here we specified the provider name, but not the namespace. So if you add that, now it should be fine. Let's come back here, kill it, restart. So what is this project about? Let's see if our default model works, which is the Horizon Beta this time. It did work. It made its own to-dos and it's starting on it. And I've heard this Horizon Beta model is really good at UI. So you're getting to build UI for free using the agentic capabilities of Claude Code with a free model. And okay, this Horizon Beta may just tomorrow be taken off the shelf because this is a stealth model. It will be out, but you can use any model to play with Claude Code. So this is a huge deal. Claude Code Router gives you the freedom to try out whatever model you want. And I like that. It's the opposite of vendor lock-in. It's a vendor freedom. So it did work. It gave back a response. And let's go into OpenRouter to see what our activity is saying. Horizon Beta, it actually worked. And you see here, I also have a usage of Llama instruct. You can see the cost, 0.000005. Hugely small. And this is a background process. And this is used to actually show that small thinking updates and those kind of smaller updates. So it doesn't need to be smart model. This can be okay-ish, but it needs to be fast. And then Horizon Beta got used. Cost 0.0000. So even if you have credits, those are going to be safe and you can just play with zero cost. Huge deal. So just to recap, I told you how to use any model with OpenRouter. I told you how to use different specialized model for long context because with Sonnet, you get only 200K. Gemini uses 1 million, allows for 1 million. Great, great deal. It allows for different reasoning models. And because I here showed you how to use it for free, you can use Claude Code even if you're not paying for Claude Pro subscription or Claude Max subscription. And the fourth point, when the limits are exhausted, so let's say on the fourth hour it is exhausted, this is where I'm referencing my last video where I showed that if in a 5-hour window, in 4 hours, you exhausted your limit of Claude Code, for the 1 hour remaining, just swap out and use any other model. And one very beautiful thing is it allows you to get back into the same session also, just to show you this is the same Claude Code. So here, as you already know, this is we got in with Claude Code Router. Now if I get out, I can use Claude to get in with continue. To continue, with continue flag, it's going to go back into the same thread which Claude Code Router started. Now, at this point, this will not work because the model is actually set to Gemini 2.5 Pro. Claude, not Router, Claude would say, what is this model? I don't know all this. I will not work. If I say, hey, this will freak out and say, hey, I don't know this model. It's going to error out. So you need to, if you're using Claude directly, not Router, you have to set the model back to Sonnet. Now it will work. I'm not gonna say hello, something else. Yeah, yep, that worked. And let's say you are in a Claude thread, working with Claude with your Pro subscription or Max subscription, everything is good, but you want to try out Gemini now or some other model. You can get out of this session and just say CCR code dash dash continue. So these are the same flags which are for Claude. You can use the same flags for Claude Code Router. So with continue, it's going to go back into the same session. So you're going to see the same thread happening. Yeah, it's the same thread. And you're back in. Now the model may be changed. Actually, it will be the correct model. It says default, but it's going to be the model that we had. So if we say hello again, this is going to be the model that you set in the config, the default model, because we are in Claude Code Router. So it's going to be Horizon Beta. But just to try out a free model now, just to get crazy with it, for default, let's put in Claude Code Router. Now this is free model, which sometimes or mostly do get rate limited. Let's see how these work. So I'm going to get out so that it reloads the config, get back in with continue into the same thread and try hello. Free models seem to be having an issue. Oh no, it actually worked. So even the free models are working perfectly. This is from Qwen 3 coder. If I kill it, you can see Qwen 3 coder free version gave you this response. And these I'm trying out very simple commands. You can do the same way you're using Claude Code. Just put in the same queries here. When I reference the file, everything's going to work the same way. If you say question mark, it's the same interface. Everything is same. This is actually Claude, not a copy of Claude. This is Claude. And in just to double check in activity, you can see we got the Qwen 3 coder here with 0 cost. So this is the beauty of Claude Code Router. Allows you to use any, I'm saying it for the 100th time now, allows you to use any LLM. And I'm saying it every time just to drill down this fact. Just to recap, these are the benefits. It allows you to use any model. I showed you that. Different specialized models for different things like reasoning, long context. You can use it for free. And when your limits are exhausted, just swap up the model and it works. Now, what I need from you guys is in the comments, tell me what configuration are you using for the, if you're already using Claude Code Router, because I know some of you are. What configuration are you using? Because there are so many options, so many things you can change here. How are you using for thinking model or for default or for long context? Drop that in the comment. And if this video added some value or you got to know something new, please like and subscribe, because I will be making more such videos and quick tips and tricks about how to get better with the agentic coding setup, because this is going to get better each and every day. The agentic AI world is moving pretty fast and we need to be on the top of our game. Thank you. See you on the next one.